The Hawaiian Islands, a chain of islands that run over 350 miles long, one of the most famous vacation sites in the world. Known for its lush rainforest qualities, the Hawaiian Islands had a truly one-in-a-million shot of becoming the way that it is. The Hawaiian Islands are a volcanic-created island that was once located hundreds of miles deep beneath the sea. Over hundreds of years, these volcanoes grew into the island chains. Volcanic rock is one of the most difficult habitats for plants to grow on. If this is the case, then how do not only plants, but humans survive on the islands? How did an island that is over 2,600 miles away from the next island become a habitable place for plants and animals? This adventure begins over 1,400 years ago, when the Polynesian voyagers were inhabiting over thousands of miles of South Pacific islands. Starting their trek from Samoa, these seafarers were on the hunt for new territory. These Polynesian explorers had great knowledge of how to navigate the seas, with evidence of many islands they had already inhabited. While in the North Pacific Oceans, searching for a new home, the voyagers had gone far from land. During their journey into the vast emptiness of the ocean, they noticed a flock of the Pacific golden plovers migrating south. With instinctive knowledge, they knew that there must be land nearby, for these birds are flying too. The South Pacific Islanders expected if they were following these birds that they would find new unexplored islands nearby. Unfortunately, the voyagers could not keep up with these bird flock. So each year they would return to the spot that they last left off and would continue to wait to find the birds to follow. For over 400 years, this cycle continued, with the Polynesians tracking the plovers, but eventually it paid off. The first human life to land on the Hawaiian Islands was around 1000 AD. From then on, the Hawaiian Islands transformed into a completely different habitat. Back when the Hawaiian Islands just reached the surface of the water, before any plants had habited there, a seed of a plant would have had to have made a journey over 26,000 miles from Samoa, the closest island, to create the lush agriculture that is there now. Despite the islands being an oasis of fresh water with fish and birds, there were no large mammals. There were key nutrients missing that were needed to stay alive: carbohydrates. Fortunately for the new Hawaiian people, they had plenty of experience inhabiting new territories. During the 1,600-mile trek across the ocean, the Polynesian people had brought something from their homelands. Wherever the nutritional taro thrived, the Polynesian people could thrive. As lush as these islands may seem, the volcanic geological side of the island did not play well with the biological side of food crops. Volcanic rock locked away crucial nutrients such as phosphorus that plants needed. Lucky for the Hawaiians, the volcanic rock can provide the problem but also the solution. Hawaii produces over 22 million gallons of rainwater washing over the islands every day, leaching nutrients from rocks and organic material along the way. Once the water is finished filtering its way down to the valley floor, the water by then is full of rich in nutrients that the plants that are on the island depend on. The way the Polynesians traditionally taro plant is by crushing it into a powder, which then is created into a carbohydrate-rich paste called poi. This traditional food is still eaten today due to its resistance of spoilage and its ability to last for years. When discovering the islands of Hawaii, the new Hawaiian people came across something that they had never encountered in all of their wandering. At the top of the volcano Mount Mauna Kea on the Big Island, there was an ice cap created by the Ice Age. When the volcanic lava is released into the ice, it creates extremely hard rock forms due to its quick cooling. The Hawaiians named it Hoyt. This was very beneficial to the new Hawaiian people. They learned how to shape it into various useful tools that made things such as building homes, clearing land, and creating an irrigation system. The discovery of Hoyt by the Hawaiian settlers was as important to their culture as the Bronze Age was to ours. The Polynesian people had transitioned into Hawaiians, all thanks to a little seed that flew 2,600 miles through the air over the ocean that landed on the island that emerged life from a lifeless rock formation to a rich, fertile ground of many tropical plants. During an ancient Hawaiian traditional festival of Thanksgiving, known as Makahiki, the celebration is based off a successful harvest and honoring the god of fertility, Lono, for blessing them with the crops that they were given. Hawaiian mythology prophesies that Lono would come to see and visit the Makahiki festival. Sure enough, during one Makahiki festival celebration, a sail ship came into view heading towards the beach. The Hawaiian people were sure that it was Lono coming to visit them, but it turned out to be the famous British explorer Captain James Cook. Cook and his crew arrived on the beach of the Big Island on January 16, 1771. The British explorer recognized his mistaken identity, but continued to seek the fame and was given treatment of food and water while they were repairing their boats. They stayed for 19 days and changed the course of history for what was to be Hawaii. After the 19 days, Cook and his crew took off back to Britain. An unplanned encounter caused him to return to the islands after only 5 days out. Unfortunately for Cook, this was an obvious sign that he had tried to fool them into believing that he was a god. The Hawaiian people understood that a god could make it through any weather. This return ended up in the death of Captain Cook. But his crew lived on to tell the tale. The centuries of isolation that the Hawaiian Islands had has now ended. Just a short 10 years after the word of Hawaii reached the mainlands, outsiders were on a race to exploit the new discovered land of these islands. The Hawaiian Islands were the new export trading goods all over the world, from China to North America all the way to Paris and New York. Pieces of agriculture of Hawaii were spread across the world. Sandalwood, guano, tails of the feathers of the tropical birds, just a few of the desperate commodities people wanted. If that weren't enough, some American entrepreneur wanted all the treasures to himself. They recognized that the beautiful scenery, the warm weather, and the rich culture is a perfect traveling location and moneymaker. So in the 19th century, Hawaii became United States territory. Along with being an excellent vacation getaway, the benefits of the Hawaiian Islands being the wettest place on the world was great for the most ideal crop plantation. Sugarcane is very dependent on water, so being planted in a place that produces over 450 gallons of water, such as Kauai, it's pretty economically smart to plant it in Hawaii. There was also a lot of disease brought to the Hawaiian Islands that the locals were not immune to. In just a century, illnesses like mumps reduced the population of the Hawaiian people by 90%. The original population was 400,000, and it dropped down to 40,000. When all these new plantations were developed, the demand for workers increased. The solution to this problem was shipping over 300,000 workers from all over the world to the islands of Hawaii. The sugar plantations were a massive success and ended up turning over 1 million tons of sugar each year. After one British explorer discovered the Hawaiian Islands in the 18th century, Hawaiian Islands are now one of the most diverse places in the world. The Hawaiian Islands are now populated by Chinese, Vietnamese, Japanese, Portuguese, Filipino, Pacific Islanders, and more. The story of Hawaii starts off with a couple of small volcanoes erupting underneath the sea. Then one seed flowing through the air over 2,600 miles across the ocean, to the voyagers following a bird looking for the way to plants, then an explorer exploiting the riches of a beautiful isolated community.